Put up the tree, hang up the stockings, put the candles in the windows, turn on the lights, that is, if you can get them untangled and find the burned out fuse and the light with them. Slice up the fruit cake and hang some tinsel on the evergreen bough. If you're like Annie Mae and you just need a little music, you need a little laughter, if you need a little snappy, happy ever after, and you need a little Christmas now, then you've come to the right place. For the next hour, there's absolutely nothing that you need to do. There are no gifts to buy, there's no food to cook, no programs to prepare for, no cards to write, no house to clean, and no more decorations to put up. Turn off your phone and ignore all the calls, texts, and emails, and just relax. Let the music remind you of Christmases past and anticipate those yet to come. We're the Camden Community Concert Band. Our director is Mr. Glenn Price, and we're all volunteers from right here in Kershaw County and the surrounding communities. We come from all walks of life. We're students and teachers. Some of us are retired, some are business owners, engineers, computer technicians, and nurses. Some are church music directors, band directors, and professional musicians. And some of us hadn't picked up an instrument for decades until we joined the community band. What we all have in common is our love of music and our desire to serve the community. If you share that passion, then we invite you to join us. Our opening number this afternoon was written by Sean O'Loughlin, the principal pops conductor of the Victoria Symphony in Camden. Christmas Exhilaration was originally written for the brass and percussion sections of the orchestra as a way to limit the number of performers on stage during the pandemic. It was so well received that he created the arrangement you just heard for wind ensemble. His use of bell tones and the familiar 4/4 melody of "O Come All You Faithful," adapted to a 6/8 time, makes a perfect fanfare for this year's Christmas concert. Our next selection is an arrangement of "Do You Hear What I Hear?" It's based on the version by Adam Anders and Pierre Astrom from the second Glee cast album from 2011. In 1962, composer Noel Rainey and his wife Gloria Shane were asked by a record producer to write a Christmas song. But due to the commercialism of Christmas, they were hesitant. Lyrics on the nativity of Jesus as found in the Gospels, and on prophecies from the Old Testament, Jesus is never mentioned or explicitly identified in the lyrics. The song ends with the hopeful message that the child will bring goodness and light. It's interesting that for this song, the usual roles of composer and lyricist were reversed for Noel and Gloria. Noel usually composed the music and Gloria usually wrote the lyrics. In an interview some years later, Ms. Shane shared that when the composition was completed, neither she nor Noel were able to personally perform the entire song because it brought out such deep emotions. Please welcome to the podium our Associate Director, Mr. Robert Wirtz, as we present this arrangement of "Do You Hear What I Hear" by Jay Boker. From the beginning fanfare, Alan Carter's Yuletide Flourish ushers us into the excitement of the hustle and bustle of the holiday season with 4 Christmas favorites. We begin with Joy to the World. A flourish of brass leads us into Angels We Have Heard on High, followed by O Come All Ye Faithful, and we close with the familiar strains of Joyful, Joyful We Adore Thee, taken from Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. We welcome Mr. Price back to the podium for Yuletide Flourish by R. Alan Carter. concert would be complete without an arrangement by Robert W. Smith. Mr. Smith is one of the best known Christmas decoration to a powerful conclusion. Happy holidays to all. Christmas Decoration by Robert W. Smith. James Christensen is another great American composer, arranger, and conductor. He spent more than 37 years with Walt Disney Productions, and his music can still be heard at not only the Disney theme parks, but also at parks like Knott's Berry Farm, Hershey Park, Canada's Wonderland, Lotte World in Korea, and Movie World in Germany. He arranged and orchestrated music for the Boston Pops, the London Philharmonic, and several Super Bowls. We're pleased to be able to present this holiday medley, incorporating Good Christian Men Rejoice, Angels from the Realms of Glory, Here We Come A-Caroling, Deck the Halls, and O Christmas Tree, in a piece entitled The Special Sounds of Christmas. as a summer replacement series on ABC in 1958, and then on CBS in 1959. In September of 1962, it premiered as a weekly year-round series. George Weil was the vocal director and arranger for the show. He teamed up with Edward Cola to write a new song for the upcoming Christmas episode. They titled the song "The Most Wonderful Time of the Year" and included references to favorite seasonal activities like hosting parties, surprise visits from friends, the universal joy of the season, spending time with family, playing in the snow, roasting marshmallows, sharing stories about previous Christmases, and singing Christmas carols. The song was introduced on the show and recorded for the Andy Williams Christmas album, which was released in 1963. In those days, the record label, in this case was Columbia Records, would release a single to promote the album. The single was that little black one that ran at 45 RPMs. And those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, ask your parents or your grandparents. Probably your grandparents. But anyway, instead of selecting this original song to promote the album, they selected Williams' cover of White Christmas as the official promo. Despite this snub, the song continued to be featured on the show's Christmas episodes and in later annual specials. The song was recorded by numerous other artists and by Andy Williams himself, but his 1963 version remains the most popular. We hope you enjoy this John Moss arrangement of "The Most Wonderful Time." enlisted the aid of Oakley Haldeman and Harriet Melka to write the song. Singer and guitarist Johnny Bond made a demo recording where he used ice cubes to mimic the sound of jingling sleigh bells. When Autry recorded the song in August of 1947, he used real sleigh bells. And so will the band, as we present Paul Murtha's arrangement of Here Comes Santa Claus. Glad you could make it today.
Playing my song.
Well, there you go. We did it just for you. Just for you. Now, do you remember 1946, that parade? Do you? There you go.
And the marching band, they were just a marching, they were side skipping, of course. Different era back then.
You know, people have asked me how it is that we can get the real Santa to come to our concerts. Well, I have it on good authority that once upon a time, he was a pretty fair cheaper player. Long time ago. Do you ever pick it up again?
I picked it up last year, had a picture, they would have put it back down.
We're so glad you could come and spend some time with us today. He's got a few candy canes, so when he heads down, if you want one, wave your hand, and I'm sure he'll spread some around. Thank you, Sam. Santa, while you're sharing some sweets there, I'm going to tell them about this next little piece. See, we got this this crowd over here on the floor. Yeah, I'll tell you more about them in a minute. Paul Desmond was a saxophonist and composer. His best-known composition was the jazz standard Take 5, recorded by the Dave Brubeck Quartet in 1959. Mel Torme, also known as the Velvet Fog for his smooth vocal style, co-wrote the Christmas song with Bob Wells in 1945. Over the Rainbow was written by Harold Arlen for the movie The Wizard of Oz and recorded by Judy Garland in 1939. About now, you're probably asking yourself, why is this guy throwing out all of this unrelated information? Well, my wife and children would probably tell you that it's just what I do. But this time, there really is a reason. Randolph Fussell, who arranged our next selection, apparently felt that the title needed a little clarification, so he provided a subtitle. But even the subtitle may need a little background for those who aren't up on the history of the origins of the songs in this medley. The title is, Take Five Merry Gentlemen Roasting Chestnuts Over the Rainbow While Dreaming of a White Christmas. And the subtitle is, One Christmas, Judy Garland, Mel Torme, and Paul Desmond were sitting around having a couple of drinks. The piece that might have come out of that impromptu evening is written for saxophone quartet and will be performed by members of our saxophone section. Take five merry gentlemen roasting chestnuts over the rainbow, wishing for a Merry Christmas. Sean Haskett, Fiona Greenwood, Jerry Taylor, and Obie Oblander. They were so sure you were going to enjoy it that they prepared an encore. Saxophone players aren't quite as arrogant as trumpet players, but close second. And their next piece is Santa Baby, arranged by Ralph Martin. exposure to music came when he was 3 years old, playing on a cracker tin can to accompany his uncle, who was playing the cuatro. Cuatro is a Puerto Rican stringed instrument, similar to a guitar or a ukulele. Looks more like a violin. It's strung and plucked. When he was 5, his family moved to Spanish Harlem in New York City. At the age of 7, he taught himself to play the accordion. Nobody knew that he was originally an accordion player, did you? 2 years later, his father gave him his first guitar. He was influenced by 1950s rock and roll and recordings of classical guitarists and jazz players. Jose began playing in coffee houses, pubs, and clubs in New York, and then all over the U.S. and Canada. He was discovered by the folks at RCA, and by 1970, his recording and concert career was in full swing. He was traveling all over the place. The label asked him to do a Christmas album and wanted him to include an original song. As he sat in the studio in LA, far from his family in New York, he thought about their Puerto Rican heritage and how they celebrated Christmas. Celebrating Christmas Eve with his brothers, the traditional foods of his childhood, drinking rum and going caroling. The recording was completed in just 10 minutes. The result was a very simple song, only 19 words, which capture the universal holiday greetings from around the world. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, from the bottom of my heart. Feliz Navidad by Jose Feliciano, arranged for band by Chris Shaw. Dennis, in his 1955 novel, introduced us to Auntie May. It quickly found its way on the Broadway in 1956 and became a musical starring Angela Lansbury in 1966. After losing her fortune in the Wall Street crash that led to the Great Depression, May decides that she, her young nephew Patrick, and her 2 household servants need a little Christmas night to cheer them up. The original lyrics include the line, "But Auntie May, it's 1 week past Thanksgiving Day now." When Lucille Ball played May in the movie musical version, which came out in 1974, the line had changed to, "It's 1 week until Thanksgiving Day now." Christmas Creek now has the season starting before Halloween, unless you count the Hallmark Channel Christmas movies that start in July. But Annie Mae was right. There's nothing like a little Christmas to wipe away our cares and call forth happy memories of better times. Please welcome Kevin Smith to the podium as the band presents Ted Rickett's arrangement of James Herman's "We Need a Little Christmas." It has been our pleasure to share these sounds of the season with you. We hope that they brought back fond memories and inspired you to create new ones. Whatever your holiday traditions might be, we hope that you have the opportunity to share them with family and friends, and that they bring joy and peace. And now, we close out our program with Merry Christmas March by John Higgins and J.J. Jenkins. It's an arrangement that conveys one simple message: we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.